I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. If you never thought you knew Mia, we know her now. Welcome to the 3, 4, 5, 6 faces of Mia. Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. Listen. This is my review for Real Housewives of Potomac. This is season 7, episode 7. Like I said, welcome to the 3, 4, 5, 6 faces of Mia. Child, that Mia Thornton, a mess. A mess. Everything that I thought about Mia, everything that I've said leading up to this place, we went on a trip with Mia, and now we really know Mia. And I know the way that I am, I couldn't deal with Mia. Mia will create trouble in your world. Like, seriously. She is literally toxic. I sat and I watched her go from one thing to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. It was literally seeing a person, those are like cliche sayings, you know what I mean? Oh, you got a face for everybody. I literally sat here for 1 hour and Mia has a face for everybody. A face for everybody. With the work to match. A hot mess, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. See, I'm going to start right here. See, because I've been telling y'all something don't sit right with me, with this friendship with Jacqueline and Mia. But we got to see it all at play. Yes, Jacqueline is the flunky. She is the underling for Mia. She's like Mia's chambermaid is how she basically treated her. She literally, and they're foster sisters is what they are. So they're like foster siblings. And she literally treats her like a chambermaid. What is all of this? And we know the cameras are running. The cameras are running. It's not a private time. You literally built a whole narrative about your sister, your bestie, that she's basically nothing more than a vicious beggar. Oh, she needs toothpaste. She wants deodorant. She wants this. She wants that. Oh, you remember you used Gordon's razor he used to shave his balls. And you used it. Like she's just a beggar and she just ain't got nothing. It ain't about nothing. And she's just always needy. Really? So that's who Jacqueline is? That's who you've introduced her to us as. The first time we actually get to really see her and see her in action and the spotlight gets on her, you put the spotlight on Jacqueline as Jacqueline, the chambermaid and the beggar. She asked me for one more thing. I mean, you just dogged her. She dragged her in her face. She dragged her in her confessionals. What more? What more? Make her empty the slop bucket? I'm like, are you serious right now? The picture that she painted of Jacqueline, I wouldn't take Jacqueline nowhere with me. Why would I take someone somewhere with me that is going to drive me crazy begging for stuff? Every time they were in the scene together, it was like Jacqueline was getting on her nerves, shutting her up, chomping her off when they had that scene in the car, and they were talking to the car, she just chomped her off. Who does their best friend like that? Who does one of their siblings that way? I wish one of my siblings or one of my good friends would try it. Chomping me off. Painting a bad picture of me. Well, you all know how that works. You try to paint a bad picture of me, and I catch wind to it, then baby, I'm going to clean you up, honey. You're not just going to do it and get away with it. It's not going to happen. And I sat and I watched. It was literally painful to watch Jacqueline sit there and swallow that misuse, because that's what it was. It was misuse and abuse of a friend. And how dare you? How dare you? It was a mess. Moving on. Giselle, Ashley, and Mia were having this little conversation, and then that's where Peter came up. And this didn't look, y'all know I like Peter Thomas, but this didn't come up good because basically Mia sat there and painted a picture basically of Peter as something that people have said about Peter before, an old nasty piece of clout chaser. Oh, yes, I said it. Again, Mia. Yes, Peter's family. We found out she's known Peter for like 10 years. Peter's good friends with her. He's good friends with Gordon. And on and on and on. He's the first man to ever hold their daughter besides Gordon, and on and on and on. But in this conversation, Giselle lends that Peter doesn't even really know Wendy all like that. He didn't even know her name. He never was very serious about going into business with Wendy, but he would just play the game for basically for the recognition and the airtime. Excuse me, that's better known as clout chasing. And then in that same conversation, well, Ashley's over there. Ashley's living her best single life, okay? She's giving you very cameo, single life. She said over to talk about men hitting her up on the internet and her doing TikToks and not wearing drawers and you know, she's just living her single fantasy. She's having a good time. Back to Me. Is that what it is, girl? There you go. There's a song title for you. You say you're a singer, baby. Go write you a song called Back to Me and then send me a little check, honey. For the title's mine. You come out with a little song, Back to Me, honey. I'm going to come and I'm going to see you, child. I want my cheese. But anyway, I mean, girl, I can write it for you, really. You know, hit me up, girl. We ain't going to do no whole lot of talking because you know you be getting on my nerves. But I'll write you a song called Back to Me, girl, because that's what you living right now. Anyway, and then we got more talking about Jacqueline and how needy she is. I said, really? So you're going to speak to your fellow mean girls about your chambermaid. How nice. Nice and dreadful. But yes, Peter Thomas is being built here to be a clout chaser. And it was less on Mia at this point, more on Giselle. So like he basically was using Wendy for airtime. I said, oh, interesting. Okay. So the paperwork has been sent to Wendy about the restaurant. Wendy just hasn't responded. We already know Wendy's husband's not on board. She didn't respond. I mean, I didn't see what the big deal was. It is what it is. Okay. Moving on. I mean, that's not very professional, but again, it's Peter Thomas. Moving on. Wendy and Karen have a little talk. And they talk about this situation with Charisse. And Karen stated it very, listen, it's been like 5 years. 5 years. And I'm not interested in picking up anything with her. I didn't want any more. I'm not interested in going to lunch with her. She came to me talking about some lunch. I said, yeah, whatever. But for real, it's really a no for me. It's a no for me for her. I don't have any use for her. Haven't talked to her in 5 years. Not really interested in talking to her. And I walked away from it. And that's it. Didn't say nothing bad about the woman. Didn't drag her. Nothing. Just, I'm good on her, period. So that's that. Later on, we see that Wendy actually had to talk with Charisse and kind of, you know, Charisse, I don't believe Charisse really want to patch up things too. I don't know if she wants to really patch things up so much with Karen, but She liked to use Karen as the storyline. Karen ain't stupid. That's how I see it. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments, but I just believe that Karen ain't no fool. You up out of here, and you're not going to use my back to get back up in here. That's how I see it. Moving on. So here we go. Now they're going to the club, okay? Because you remember when we left off in the last episode was the whole thing where Peter had actually told Wendy, I got beef with, told me I got beef with Wendy. When he said it on the phone, I felt like it was like a joke, like a jovial thing. Like, now we know how Peter gets down. When Peter really got beef with you, Peter screams and yells and stomps his feet and his head spins around and the whole 9 yards. So I thought it was kind of like more of a Kiki kind of thing. And the whole cloud chasing thing, it really did sound very Peter-esque. And it was like, okay, so it's not really that big of a deal. So they're going on down here to bar 1. That was that. There was no plans of that. That wasn't on part of their itinerary. Well, it was on Mia's itinerary, but the girls didn't know that they were going to bar 1. So that was that. So, in the car, there are 2 cars. In the car, Mia was talking about Charisse. There was another point in the house before they got in the car that Charisse was looking for a hotel. And Mia came and told her, there's no need in trying to find a hotel because you're not going to find a hotel. It was really hard to even find this house, this, that, thing, and the other. Just work with me. You got a room. Yeah, you got to share a bathroom, but, come on. The house, child, the air wasn't working properly, I don't believe, because the house was hot in certain areas. Giselle was fussing about the pipes and listening to when people flush the toilets, and it just wasn't. It's a cute house, but it ain't real state of the art. Okay, it looks like it might have been like an older structure, and a lot of work may have been done on it. So it's not like this brand spanking new flawless place, okay? But it's a gorgeous place just the same. Still too small for all them. Anyway, like I said, Mia chumps Jacqueline off when Jacqueline is trying to talk. The thing with that, she just is going to block Jacqueline from any camera time that she doesn't want her to have. That's all that is. Now let's just call it what it is. She is her flunky. She's her sidekick. And you'll have no camera time that I don't want you to have. You will not be what has happened to other people on Bravo, where I brought them in to be a flunky and a chambermaid, and they end up being one of the stars of the show, and then I end up not even on the show. Sweetheart, no, we're not having that. Mia ain't playing that game with Miss Jacqueline. Do you understand? You will speak what I tell you to speak. Truly like a puppeteer. And I'm sitting there just looking at Jacqueline, eating it. It's sickening. It's real sickening to watch. Anyway, but she's in there, and here's one of the faces of Mia. She's telling Karen, I really am close with Charisse, but I'm starting to see what you're talking about her. Like, I'm starting to side with you. Yeah, because, she came to me and she's all like, oh, I go to the Four Seasons and this, that, and the other. She's just so extra. I said, really? Really? I said, wow, okay. All right. Then they went into this whole conversation about being nude in the cars. And Robin was talking about how she still gets naked in front of her boys. And one of her boys is 14. Robin, that ain't no good look. And then Ashley adds in, here you go, Robin. Here's all you need. Ashley adds in that her mom does it. And Ashley's family's strange. Anyway, so if they say and they doing it, that's not the way to go. Stop doing it. But her brother is grown. Like, what girl, child, if I go somewhere, go to my mother's house, she walk around nude, child, I will let her have it. Miss Thing, if you don't go put some clothes on and sat down somewhere, honey, 14, naked in front of your 14-year-old son? No, girl, stop. That's no. And what's wrong with Juan? Why ain't Juan said something to you about it? That ain't, I don't know. That ain't, that's a little too free. Anyway, moving on. So that was part of the conversation. They also were talking about passing gas and going to the bathroom in front of your man. And Charisse was like, oh, no. Never, as she should not. Anyway, moving on. Once they got to the dinner, I've been watching. Again, I'm watching as they go. They're talking about Candace. Candace is supposed to get there at 10 o'clock. The one that she's talked to, she's actually spoken to Wendy. She ain't really been talking to nobody. She's talking to Wendy. Wendy told her, I'll be there if my plane lands at 10. So Ashley starts speaking basically badly about Candace. She throwing shade. And I'm looking at Giselle over there laughing. It's becoming so evident that Giselle is on board with this attack of Candace, this aggravation of Candace on purpose. Then they went into this whole conversation about the friend, the supposed friend of Ashley's that Chris supposedly hit on. And then they start trying to spin around, trying to figure out, well, who ever said that he touched the lady's butt? Giselle said it. And then they showed some of the being footage. Because it's like, I don't remember where that was said, but I do remember being said. Giselle said it. Ashley said basically flirting, leaning against the bar, that kind of thing. Giselle, the first time we heard something about somebody touching somebody's butt, Giselle had gotten on the thing with Robin as she was repeating what was going on. As she said, yeah, girl, she said that Chris touched her butt. It started with Giselle. And of course, Giselle don't remember. She said, I don't know, but somebody said something about him touching her side and touching her butt. You said that. That was what you told Robin on the little Sprinter. You said it. Anyway, so it's just ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And then they get into this whole little conversation about Sharice and Karen. It's Giselle. Oh, I think it's so nice that you all actually spoke to each other in the airport, this, that, and the other. They're like, so have y'all spoken since? They're like, no. Karen's like, like no purpose. Then the next thing you know, here they get, it's like, well, why not? So it goes this thing. And so Sharice is giving all this very much, well, that's really Karen. Karen's like, look, real easy. This is my birthday. I ain't got time for all this. She's like, I moved on. That's all. I moved on. Sharice is like, well, wait, how is that possible if you and I never had a conversation about what the problem was? How could you move on? She says, because I can. I did 5 years ago. I said, oh, girl. Now that's a read, honey. She shut it right down because I can. And I did 5 years ago. I said, oh, girl, I don't need you to shut it down, this thing. I shut it down on you. It is what it is. And she's like, that's not possible when I don't know anything about what's going on. Girl, I did. So Sharice like, I'm going to go to the bathroom because she knew she had been dragged, honey, and whatnot she could do to actually get, girl, it looked foolish. It was what it was. It happened. Now get on about your business. She got up and she went to the bathroom. So at this time, Peter had actually come and Peter greeted the table and no fireworks went off at all. He was like, hey, hello, ladies. Hello, 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 hello. And Wendy had already said, oh, I'm going to end up seeing Peter. I don't want to talk about no business, at this time. And that's that. He just spoke to everybody. Everybody spoke to him. And he's like, all right, have a good time. And he went on. Because it was, I think, more of a joke, with the I got beef with her. It was just a kiki ha-ha. Mia then gets up from the table, goes, finds Peter in the restaurant. They had ordered their food and everything. Again, Ashley wants to have conversation about how Michael's treating her different. We don't care. Moving on, because that's how I'm going to handle that here. Because on this channel here, I don't really care. Let's just move on. So she goes and finds Peter. And she's trying to pry from Peter to get this information about the situation. And he tells her, yeah, it just, ain't no big deal. It is what it is. Very unprofessional. I sent her the paperwork. She hasn't responded. Just unprofessional. I was ready to do what I need to do about the business, and she just kind of like left me hanging. So, yeah, I mean, it bothers his ego a little bit. Okay, but he'll get over it. He wasn't making no huge deal of it, and that was it. Mia then Another one of her faces shows up. Well, we know she don't really care for Wendy anyway. And again, before they even left Potomac, Wendy's been on the shit list. She's already been a target. She's already let us know that she wasn't going to treat Wendy well. She just wasn't. She's not going to treat Wendy well. Candace, same thing. She's not going to treat him well. So we know this. So this is again another one of their faces. She goes and starts claiming Wendy ain't got no money. Bad talking her. I said, girl, here we go. And that's at that point, I said, this broad really does have a face for everybody. Anyway, so that was that. In the meantime, back at the table, Ashley has now baited Jacqueline into a conversation about Mia. And now you got Jacqueline speaking, trying to candidly not speak badly, but really speaking badly about Mia. And she's like, if we weren't like family like that, if we didn't know each other for such a long time, we probably wouldn't be friends. Like if I met her, because they were basically letting on like, girl, she don't treat you well. What's the tea? And I think, Philly kind of fell in her ways because she had been just dogging her ever since they've been in Miami all day long. She's been dogging her. And she spoke and she said some things. And I'm like, so Jacqueline, you know that you're not being treated well. Okay, that's all I needed. That's a mess. Moving on. So Mia comes back to the table and decides to bring some drama to the table. Giselle opens the door and says, well, what was the long conversation about? She goes on, she starts telling the story. Yeah, he got beef. He really did. He really has beef with Wendy, with you. He has beef with you. Then she starts talking about Wendy, basically like Wendy's not even there at the table. And she's going on and on and on and on and on. And then Wendy says, well, listen, like, it doesn't matter. And then she said, he's taking offense to the fact that and he did say which was stupid. I can't believe she came to my bar and she knows that she hasn't responded to me. That's just so unprofessional. And it just was kind of weird for her to show up at my bar. Well, it wasn't part of the plan. It wasn't part of the plan, but here we are. So like, you put 20 on 10, just shut up. It is what it is. But Mia goes into it. And again, she's talking about Wendy like Wendy's not sitting there. And when Wendy responds, she says, I don't know why. She's like, I don't have to tell him when I'm going to be in town. Like, why would I do that? And she's like, because you should. You got unfinished business with him. And then she tells Wendy, don't start. She got very aggressive. Don't start. That's my family. And what you're not going to do, don't start. I was like, Wendy didn't even say anything badly. She said, listen, all I'm saying is the only man that I answer to is my husband. There's no man out here that I tell when I'm going to be in town, when I'm getting to town, what my moves are going to be. I don't do that with any man other than my husband. That's it. I don't do that. She kept on talking to Wendy, aggressive. It was aggressive. And she kept going. And she says, listen, I don't beef with men. So you're talking about he have a beef with me. I don't beef with men, sweetie. I have a husband. I don't do that. I don't owe him anything. I don't owe him to tell him where I'm going or where I'm going to be. And she said, I don't do that. She said, now, if you and your husband play those types of games, I don't know. Me and my husband don't play those types of games. I only answer to and give my whereabouts to my husband. But if you and your husband do that kind of thing, that's on y'all. That broad took a drink and threw it on Wendy. I guess it was a glass of water, but she threw a drink on her. It was so uncalled for. She was totally camera balls, showing out for the table, showing out for the people, trying to be tough on the slide. And I was just sitting there like, wait a minute. Because I don't think Wendy is smart, but I don't think Wendy's no punk. Not no kind of way. I don't. But you got her in a bind. She works for John Hopkins. She's somebody's mother. She has a whole image to uphold. That's why you chose her to do that too. Because you wouldn't have did that to Robin. You would not have done that to Robin Dixon. You would not have. You wouldn't have did it to Ashley. And you definitely wouldn't have did it to Candace, because Candace was already done fought on, well, tried to fight a little bit on screen. But you knew what you were doing. She threw that drink on her. And at that point, Robin Dixon, Robin, really? What's your deal? You forgot all the things you've done. You forgot the situation with the umbrella and all. You've forgotten the times when you snapped out. You snapped out on Wendy and got all aggressive. You're mad at her still. So you just want to be back at her and you just want to side with anything. You really needed to shut your mouth. You were getting on my nerves the way that you say that Wendy was getting on your nerves, Robin. You were very unnecessary. You painted yourself into the position because it really had nothing to do with you or Giselle. And that's another thing. When they got to going back and forth, it was getting very ugly. And they wanted Wendy to shut up. Robin kept saying, she's so antagonistic. No, she's being exactly what she's supposed to be. She was fighting the good reality show fight. She's like, go ahead, girl, keep going. Do what you're doing. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Because I'm going to win. I'm going to win. And she knew what she was doing. She was antagonizing her. But wasn't she supposed to? She threw a drink on her. She knew she couldn't. She has something to lose, okay? She has too much to lose to be throwing drinks on her. She did what she knew she needed to do, and she just is good at it. Working with her words is what she does. She knows how to fight with her words. She works on CNN. Come on, are you serious? This is the time when all her little degrees and stuff actually do come into place. She was able to keep her cool, and it was rough because there was a couple times when she got a little, you seen the aggression in her, but you seen her fighting it back. Wendy handled herself pretty well. Pretty well. Now, my thing was to keep on coming back to the table. They kept doing stuff that they bring them back to the table. I'm like, why are y'all keep making it? Nobody's thinking that it's smart to leave. When somebody starts throwing drinks, somebody need to leave. Well, we were gonna fight. Ain't nobody accepting no drink to the face. That's crazy. But anyway, she, was doing all this, and then they went, and then they sat back down, and then it gets started back up. And I mean, when I say once the drink was thrown, after that point, Wendy did drag Mia. She dragged her. I mean, there ain't no way around it. Mia didn't have the verbiage to fire back at her. She took everything that we know of Mia, things that could be true, may not be true. They were reads. Now, reads are based in truth. The fact of the matter is, we didn't forget anything you said. Your man met you at a strip club, which you claim isn't a strip club, but it was a strip club. You were stripping, which you claim you really weren't stripping, but you was taking your clothes off. He met you there. So she basically threw jabs at you about being slutty, being, a call girl, sleeping with men and women, you and your husband, because again, when you threw the drink, it was all fair game. And she didn't fire any of those nasty reads at her until after the water was thrown. Once the water was thrown, it really was balls to the wall. And she really did drag her. And she was doing things and saying things to make her mad, and it worked. Then she literally lost it. And security had to come and get her and all of this and carry on. And as security, that's why I said Wendy handled herself pretty well. Security did have to scoop her up one time. She had to scoop her up because she's done stood up over her. She was saying, what are you going to do? You going to throw another drink? You going to do it again, And they had to come and scoop Wendy up because Wendy was like, what you're not going to do, sit back down and be putting your hand in my face and this, that thing, and the other. But I mean, she's already violated her. So what do you expect her to do? Giselle sits over there and starts trying to force Karen to take a side, which was ridiculous. So she's trying to force Karen. Robin's over there videotaping, talking about, I'm TMZ and this, that, the other, and keep telling Wendy to shut up. All while all this is going on, when I tell you Ashley is just getting shit faced. Ashley just drinking, turning the glass up. They said, girl, you okay? She, oh, yeah. Miss, I ain't gonna drink. Drunk as the coup de brown. And then she was saying, Ashley said, listen, after, because then they had another little tete-a-tete, honey, when she kept on firing at her, and then Mia just lost it. She took and hit her, she threw her purse at her phone and hit Wendy with her purse at her phone. I said, girl, now if she sued you, you're gonna be feeling stupid. But she did it. It's all on camera. They separated them out. Mia's calling G at home, telling him to get her a flight. She's going to leave. Jacqueline jumps right into sister mode. So, you got too much to lose. You know, this is no, Jacqueline. Ghetto is your friend. Your friend with that red lipstick on, looking crazy. If she didn't look like one of them old, she looked like a sex toy with all that red lipstick on. Looked terrible. But she was ghetto, not Wendy. Mia was ghetto the whole way through. She hadn't broke her nails. She bleeding. She all sad and all that. Robin and Giselle. Well, Robin ends up being at the table, and Wendy was like, I don't want to hear it, because if this happened to you, you wouldn't be quiet. You wouldn't be quiet. And Robin jumped up and she started screaming at Wendy. Well, Wendy won. This, that, and the other. And she's like going at Wendy, and Wendy's looking at her like, what is her problem? So they go out. They're all calling Wendy. They literally taking Wendy's side. Wendy was wrong, you all. She was wrong from before they left Potomac. You put an X on Wendy's back. And I'm keep saying Wendy. Mia was wrong. Mia was wrong. You put an X on Wendy's back before y'all ever even got on the plane. And you just carried it out. You targeted her, you mistreated her, and you mistreated Jacqueline. And it just was what it was. So after they get everything together, they tell her, just go back to the house, chill out, and then we'll see, what's going to go on, whatever. They go back to the table. Giselle comes back to the table and starts insinuating that Wendy is wrong. And Wendy basically busted down and said, listen, this is what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to sit here and play games with you all while you all are really like trying to paint me out to be wrong when we all seen what actually happened here. And said, when this thing happened with Candace and Monique, you were the one that didn't stand for any violence. But today you're for violence. I'm not going to do it. And they're like, well, where are you going? She said, I'm not going to sit here with this. I am not going to sit here with this. And she went on and walked off. And we got another to be continued. Listen, it is what it is. Wendy actually, she was very much antagonistic, but that's what she was supposed to do. That's what she was supposed to do. She worked Mia into a position where now she got all the cards in her hand because she didn't put her hands on Mia. She did not put her hands on Mia. Mia was aggressive toward her. Wendy has the winning hand at this point. Sure does. And y'all got double footage. You got Bravo's footage and you got the footage that Robin took. And in all of it, Wendy got hit. Wendy got a drink thrown on her. Wendy ain't hit nobody. All Wendy did was run her mouth. And then we got proof that Wendy didn't even go below the belt with her reading until after the water was thrown on her. So now you didn't help Robin. You helped Wendy because now we got double footage. That what she's saying is true. And then we got footage of you jumping up and acting a fool all in the interim. Just a mess. Like I said, the 4, 5, 6 faces of Mia, that Mia, I face for everybody. And she was out there trying to cry, she's trying to muster up some tears and stuff for G. Like you didn't start. You started it all. You started it all. You've been talking about folks ever since y'all landed down in Miami. You've been one way in this room, one way in that room, talking smack about everybody. Talking smack about everybody. And when they exposed that you was talking smack about Sharice, I said, oh. And I don't know why Sharice was looking shocked. She'd talk to you about everybody else. Why you think she wasn't talking about you too? Like really, look in the mirror, Sharice. You really thought she wasn't talking about you? Girl, please. But when Wendy was dragging her girl, and when she really got her, when she started calling her crater face, girl, that's what she got her at. That's when it started going down. It's like, listen there, crater face. I said, oh. Of course, she got up underneath your skin. Good fashion. She did. Anyway, So listen, y'all tell me what y'all think. I know you all will. Tell me what y'all think about this mess, and we'll talk in the comments later.